Okay, example 1. Find the greatest common factor for each set of terms. Okay, the greatest common factor. There's lots of common factors. So what we have here is we have 6x to start off with. 6x has factors of 6 and x, but it also has factors of 3, 2, and x. Now let's think about that for a minute. 6 times x gives us 6x. 3 times 2 give us 6 times x gives us 6x. So both of these are factors of 6x. This has 2 factors. This one has it as 3 factors. Let's think about 24 for a minute. 24 could be, I don't know, how about 24 times 1? How about 12 times 2? How about 8 times 3? How about 4 times 6? And how about 2 times 2 times 2 times 3? So those are all factors that'll give me 24. Now, the question asks for the greatest common factor. So the greatest common factor between this one and this one. Well, the greatest common factor is going to be 6. I've got a 6 here, and I've got a 6 down here. So the greatest common factor, the biggest one, is going to be 6. Now, this one has a 3, this one has a 3, this one has a 2, this one has 2s, but the greatest common factor in this one is going to be 6. Now, these are called the prime factors. We've taken it all the way down, and all of these are prime numbers. These are the prime factors. But we're talking about greatest common factor, and so that's what we're after. So what's the greatest common factor now between 10x squared and 15x? Well, in terms of the number, I can get a 5 out of 10, and I can get a 5 out of 15. So 2 times 5 is 10, and 3 times 5 is 15. But they also have x's. So if you think about 10x squared, it could be factored as 5 times 2 times x times x. And if we think about 15x, it could be factored as 5 times 3 times x. So the greatest common factor, what's common in both of these, is definitely a 5. That's the numerical part. But they both have an x as well. So what are we going to have here as a greatest common factor between these two? Well, it's going to be 5x. The 5 and the x, both of them. Okay? So that's the greatest common factor here. All right, 3 terms, see the commas? That's what's separating them. What's the greatest common factor here? Well, I've got 6, 12, and 8. I always start with the numbers first. So the greatest number that's going to come out that can be divided out of all 3 evenly is 6. So that's the number part. Now, how many x's are here? There's x times x times x. That's 3 x's being multiplied. This is x squared. That's x times x. That's 2 x's being multiplied. And that's just 1x. So what's common in all 3? I can't take the biggest one because not all 3 of them have the biggest one. I can't take the second highest one because all 3 of them don't have 2 of them. But all of them have at least one of them. So the greatest common factor here is 6x. And the way to think about that, if you want to see it, is 6x cubed can be factored as 6x, x, x, minus 12x squared can be factored as negative 2, 6, x, x, and 18x can be factored as 3, 6, and x. Let's look for what's common in all 3 of them. I have a 6 definitely, that's easy to see. And all 3 of them have 1x. This one has more, this one has more, but this one only has 1. So the greatest common factor that can come out of all 3 is going to be 6x. All right, I'm going to stop there and then we'll do example 2.